I wish good things to you who is watching this, and this is the first qualification finals of the International Qualifiers for the 2026 Carcassonne Champions League. As a reminder to all of you that the International Qualifiers have 4 fundamentally different tournaments. Today we're concerned with Q2, the second qualification tournament for first and second place finishers of online national championships, and today we're going to have a representative of Sweden, the Swedish master with a screen name Helgi H, battling a Greek expert with the screen name Stefafnakis for a direct spot in the main stage of the Carcassonne Champions League. So a pretty big deal. Stefafnakis is a newer player with under 500 games online at the very least, but a solid expert rating of 566. Who knows, maybe their true peak is even higher. They're clearly on the ascent. Helgi, however, with more experience, nearly 3,000 games, very close to their peak rating at the moment, over 700, 715, so clearly a master in both rating and understanding of the game as well. They've been around the block for quite a while, so they should be a favorite, but we expect the Greek expert to put up a good fight. A reminder to all of you that, as usual, it is the best of 3. That said, also, if somebody gets eliminated, if somebody loses this here game, well, somebody will lose this game. They do not get eliminated just yet. They're still going to have one more chance in the consolation finals, as from each of these mini qualifying tournaments, 2 players will advance to the playoffs. It's a double elimination system, but one thing that we know for sure is that whoever wins this match will advance to the main stage of the Carcassonne Champions League. So that's how it works. Helge is playing with red meeples, Stefafnakis with green. Helge currently ahead on the scoreboard as a result of completing this here 3-point road. Generally a good position for red so far. Just a more developed city project, more stuff on the scoreboard. Kind of now have to ask, what was green doing all that time? I guess green was building this road over here for 4 points, whereas red was able to take these 4 points a little bit quicker. As a starting player, you're expected to get a bit of an opening advantage. So maybe green can equalize a little bit later by drawing the monastery. We shall see. As usual, let me know in the chat who you're rooting for and who you think is going to win. Always curious to find out whether we have more Greek fans or more Swedish fans at the moment. So, Stefafnakis starts a new city. Very nice, abiding by the principle of 2 cities. They do not want to continue their city on the right, because it then may be invaded. You don't want to be putting all eggs in one basket. Helge, in the meantime, is building up his city at the top. Stefafnakis was trying to create some platform to harass us a little bit, but didn't quite work. It has been successfully covered up, and we can see that really Stefafnakis is doubling and tripling down, trying to get some sort of an invasion square, but he's spending some valuable points. Maybe this early in the game I would have preferred an approach which minimizes variance, basically just allowing my opponents to build up the city, but I would just build this here road as compensation if I were the player with the green meeples. On the other hand, red does not get quite the tile to cover up his city, so instead they finish another city, starts a new one. They're now 11 points ahead. Very good position here for yellow, and now it looks like it's almost critical to get into the city, but finally Stefafnakis managed to get the first monastery of the game, and this is what I was talking about. Like, with the monastery, your position suddenly is not so bad. It's 6 points straight away. It's control over the city, and then this here monastery kind of makes this invasion platform obsolete. In fact, it is even better for green not to have it, and red can pick up that road, the same road that I was talking about. Green, of course, can go here now, which is, I think, what they should be doing with a farmer or without, possibly without at this early stage of the game. But then this will allow Helge to get a curvy tile and try to defend the city like this. I mean, we still, I guess, have to do it and just hope that the Swedish master does not draw a curvy tile. And they do draw not only a curvy tile, but also one with a city in it. It says even better than a defense tile. It's a fantastic, fantastic draw. And in no time, they will complete it. And I was going to say drop a farmer, which I think they should have done, but it's almost a matter of taste, I guess. In the meantime, Stefafnakis is getting some compensation. He's trying to build the city on the right. And his position is not really that bad, because the monastery also gives something. But this is why I think these moves were a little bit wasted. Right, so, because now red's going to have this long road. If green had this long road, then the position of green is like almost fine. With red having this long road, it's like a little bit worse. So generally early in the game, I don't like making moves with the sole purpose of which is chasing around cities. Like sometimes your opponent will finish a medium-sized cities, and there's just nothing much that you can do about this, and gathering compensation elsewhere is simply better than just trying to running after the city screaming, please don't get completed. So it doesn't quite work in this particular instance. But okay, Stefafnakis is fighting. This is a nice tile for him. Building up a city on the left, trying to make this square a little bit more vulnerable. This square is also mildly more vulnerable as a result, but it's okay. So normally these configurations are relatively safe. In this position, a little bit less so, because look at this 1, 2, 3, 4. Triangle cities with the road have gone out, meaning that there are only 2 remaining. So this whole idea of building a rhombus like that doesn't quite work, but it's no big deal. All we just have to do is we just need to get 2 city caps, maybe like a dagger and a vanilla or something like that. Yeah, look at how wonderful Helge's road is over here. Still chooses not to drop a farmer for some reason. But, yeah, the road in and of itself is 6 points. It's going to be 9 points already after this here. Road is continued, and it's just wonderful, wonderful for the Swede. Stefafnakis defends his city from attack. That's actually a savvy move here from the Greek. And you normally don't think about moves like this, because it's a restriction on his own city, but he figures that his city is just too valuable to be shared. So it is better for him to provide some minor blocking opportunities for his opponents, because his opponents can go here, 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 just so that he does not have to share the city. This is also quite savvy, because the Greek expert is diversifying the pool of tile that he needs. He needs city plus road tile to fill this square, and city plus field tiles to fill in this square. In the meantime, a city plus road and field tile has been drawn by Helge to fill in another square and create the threat of completing a 10-point city on the left, something that is not that easy to deal with. In fact, there's nothing we can do right now. So as Stefafnakis, I think the best, again, we ignore it, we gather compensation, we go here for 5 points. This is the strongest move that I can see. We go for the monastery, we set up a 3-point road, we control our opponent's city cap. It should be not a no-brainer necessarily, but this is the strongest of what's available on the board. And he finds it. He finds it. Not an obvious move, because there are several 5-point monastery spots. Helge will be finishing his city. There's nothing much we could have done. So the Greek expert is showing some discipline, this time not using a tile this valuable to chase around this year's city. But Helge will complete it nonetheless. Okay, finally a city cap tile for Stefafnakis, and he has to drop a farmer here. Yes, he does. This is his main chance, getting 9 points for the monastery, now also preparing to complete a city. Helge now is probably going to continue his road. One of the roads at the very least. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, still 3 curves remaining. So he might not even fill that square yet, but go for something like this here. Possibly with a farmer, possibly with the idea of making a big 6-point loop and attacking the square as well. This is the strongest move that I see. This is the second strongest move that I see. This is the third strongest, I guess. I'm not a huge fan of it. I mean, it makes a lot of sense, right? So the farmer for 6 points is lovely. Absolutely lovely. And the partial block for the city is also quite nice. There's still one tile that fits into this square, and it's this one over here. But if that is drawn, then it will be very good for green, because green will be able to finish his city for 10 points and prolong the road of red without completing the road of red. The farmer here, of course, is absolutely necessary if you're going to make a move like this, because if this critical tile is drawn, then this field will be worth 12 points, and it's good ready to preemptively attack it. In fact, Helge could even drop another farmer, use his temporary meeple majority there. Actually, never mind, there is no temporary meeple majority. In fact, it is Stefafnakis who is more likely to get a meeple back before his opponent. Yeah, and that's why the Greek expert decides to go here and start fighting for the field, which is exactly what he should be doing. You just have to create more big opportunities, more high-scoring features. You have to hope that you're going to draw the last dagger tile in the deck to finish that 10-point city. And then ideally soon enough, some other key tiles, such as the straight line over here for 3 points. Now Helge draws it, but it's not obvious that Helge is going to go there. He decides to go there anyway. These are net 2 points for him. He helps out the monastery of his opponent, but he gets 3 points of his own for the road. Stefafnakis with a scoring tile, and one that allows him to get the second farmer on this here little field, with the intention, of course, that this little field will be expanding to a bigger field through this here area, or as a fallback through this here area. However, I can easily see a scenario where Helge draws the tile that fits into the square, or somehow manages not to draw that tile but get a couple of straight lines to block it, and then somehow manages to block the square, and then preserves himself this here little 6-point field. It, of course, is not a very likely scenario, but one which should worry Helge quite a bit. I should worry Stefafnakis in some scenarios. Now, a lot of credit goes to the Greek expert now for creativity. The creativity point is pretty cool. So he makes an untraditional monastery move, but the whole idea is to set up yet another monastery, to set up a cluster. This is actually quite beautiful. So his plan is to get a curve here first, then get a regular monastery here for 6 points, and then just enjoy his life. Yeah, so lovely, lovely idea here from the Greek master, from the Greek expert. Sorry, I'm maybe thinking a couple of months ahead. Ideally, what green wants to do, he wants to get a city cap first, so that he can drop a farmer here on for the 9 points, and only then get the monastery and connect. But the Greek player now with the first big mistake of the game, honestly, I think he must be hallucinating or something. So the first part of that mistake is that he takes 2 points instead of 3 points. And you want to take 3 points. Like, when you're so far behind on the scoreboard, you have to take every point available on the board. The second idea is that maybe he didn't want to go for 3 points here so that he doesn't give back another 3-pointer with the curve over here. Well, first of all, it's actually good for Stefafnakis to increase variance and set up this coin for a 3-point road, because he's behind. Second, if Helge gets a curve, he can make something much more devastating. He can actually go here with a curve and drop a farmer and get another curve and connect like this and connect all the fields and get the majority on the field, and this is something that we do not want as the green player. As both opponents exchange semi-natural moves, Stefafnakis poking at this road a little bit, even though it could backfire. He could accidentally be building the road for his opponent. But in this particular instance, I do like that move quite a bit. Helge is now helping inadvertently Stefafnakis' monasteries just to destroy this setup. But if I'm Stefafnakis, I don't mind that too much. And now he's gonna go for the farm, I was going to say, but he does not go to the farm. I thought it was a good chance to try and invade that little farm if you're the Greek player. Instead, he just uses this tile as a monastery point. Maybe being a bit more inconsistent in his approach. I felt like this here monastery setup was very nice and risky. Precisely the kind of thing that you need to be doing. This move was a bit more of a normal move, and it allows Helge to finish his city on the right, something that I would have preferred him not to do. Stefafnakis now with a wonderful blocking opportunity here at the top. He has to find this move and meeple the road. There's just no way around this. If you're going to win this game, you have to go here. You have no choice. But the reason why normally these moves are not good is because it allows your opponents to continue your road with a curve. So it looks like you're blocking, but you're helping it. But in this particular instance, this setup, which the Greek expert follows through on, was good because there were not many curves in the deck and quite a lot of city plus road tiles. Namely, the 2 horse tiles were still remaining. A tile like this, right, which would have allowed him a 4-point road and a partial block on this here square. The Greek expert drew even a better tile, one which allows him complete block of this square. And look at that! Stefafnakis, with the key tile, gets himself a meeple back, gets himself 10 points, eats up this here farmer. Now he has a majority of 2 versus 1 on a field worth 12 points. Whilst being only 14 points behind, this game now just became absolutely playable. Helge, of course, with the road has plenty of compensation, but now Green could absolutely win this. He needs to invade the field on the right. Helge needs to prevent this. I think the move that we have to do is something like this, making invasion opportunities a little bit more difficult. Instead, Helge chooses to protect his hero a little bit. Stefafnakis now needs to maybe not drop a farmer just yet. I just noticed that there are still 20 tiles remaining. If I'm a Swedish fan, hi Ritichai, by the way, if I'm a Swedish fan, then I am nervously following that. Okay, now a little bit nervously. I think Stefafnakis missed a big opportunity here. He should have gone here. He should have started a new city. This city was absolutely completable. There's still a few Dorito tiles in the deck. Helge has only 1 meeple. Helge can do only so much about this. Now, this move is just like a normal move, and Helge will still enjoy a comfortable lead of a couple of points until, of course, Stefafnakis gets a meeple back from this here road. Still, a long-term meeple majority will be an asset for Green's position here, and I think Red's approach is just score as many little points as he can. And if he fails to do that, then he can try building around some farming platforms in a variety of locations. So maybe we go here at some point with the road, trying to set up a farmer like this so that we can get our last meeple here and equalize this farm for 12 points, in which case the Swede would still be ahead. Helge just keeps developing what is soon to become a shared field. I'm sure Stefafnakis will just pick up the quick points. There's no need to rush with the fields connection. There's still plenty of tiles to do there. Yeah, so of course the city cap would have fit over here, but we don't need to panic. Helge now will, of course, try and go here, and we'll try and block it. Yeah, but it's whatevs. Oh, no. Of course, 3 points. 3 points. Yes, 3 points make more sense. On the next move, Helge will try and block it. Stefafnakis now takes care of an invasion platform, not allowing Helge to re-invade. Once these fields are equalized, Helge now gets a scoring tile. He has a choice of 3 points over here, or maybe 0 points over here, but pre-building his road to completion. Maybe actually that latter option is even a little bit safer somehow, but he takes the points. I like taking the points. I like trying to climb close on the scoreboard. So what does Stefafnakis do? I think he just waits, right? So he's minus 13. And he has 2 extra points on the road, right? So that's minus 11. And he has this here extra field, so this is plus 1. Assuming this field gets equalized. And he also has these here 3 extra city points. So this is plus 4. But Red has this long road for 11 points. So Red will be plus 7 even after this here field has been connected. And this is the reason why I was advocating for a move like this, which, by the way, would have now pretty much almost worked. Stefafnakis now tries block Helge's road. Helge will defend a little bit. Actually, no, he won't. He will just score quick points in a shared field. I think this is what you're supposed to do. This meeple is nice to recover, but it's actually strictly not necessary. With 13 tiles remaining, you can easily survive with just one meeple. All you need to do is get enough of a buffer on the scoreboard that your opponent's field attacks cannot do all that much. If Helge now takes the 4 points and puts himself at plus 11, then the only way Stefafnakis wins this game is by getting a meeple back from the road first, and then attacking the big field twice. The big field, by the way, is not the field on the left, which I was earlier referring to, right? Not this guy. It is now the field on the right. It now has 15 points on it. Helge also draws a key tile. He draws the last splitter that would fit over here, and that would give some good points for the player with the green meeples. Green, in the meantime, successfully blocks Red's road. There's nothing that fits into the square anymore because, as I told you earlier, a lot of these Dorito tiles had gone out, and the last Dorito with the road soon after, so this road is permanently blocked. Not a big concern for Helge, who is 17 points ahead on the scoreboard, and even more points ahead overall. Stefafnakis takes the quick points. Helge will now probably try and block that connection square, and he can do that. Actually, he cannot do that, but he can drop a farmer for himself. And I think this is how you win the game if you are the Swedish player here. Actually, I'm not sure. Wait. This is tricky. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's still one straight line remaining. And if you go here, you are limiting the square to just one straight line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's still one curve available, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, and so you would be reducing the chances of your opponents to connect in half. At the very least in half, maybe even more so. Oh yeah, there's also a dagger, actually, so maybe it's useful to just go here. It's also a good idea to just go here and drop a second farmer and hope to reconnect in one of these two ways, you know, because there are 2 monasteries remaining and you can do that. But if you go here and drop a farmer, then this is the ultimate insurance, because there is no way how green can make it into the field without bringing red into the field as well, and he goes for exactly that. But Stefafnakis can still drop a farmer elsewhere. And if I'm Stefafnakis, I'm also genuinely contemplating another move. I'm contemplating a move going over here for 7 points and just trying to score my way to victory. This is also not crazy, because then I still have a couple of crossroads available to me, and by a couple I mean exactly 2, which go over here and give me a meeple back, and then I can still score quick points with another city cap, and then I can still at least tie the field at the bottom. And so this could be, in fact, enough for me to win the game. So I think we actually go here. An alternative is we go for the field straight away. We actually go here with the intention of drawing a straight line and then another road tile to connect over here. But then actually this makes 0 sense. No, it makes some sense because you get to drop a farmer like right now on this move. I think it is not necessary. I think with 8 tiles remaining in the deck, 9 tiles unseen to us, so 5 moves for us to be played, we can still afford to wait, and this 7-point monastery looks mighty appealing. In fact, there are even combos how we could complete it and meeple another monastery, so this is quite powerful. We should really look into that. The one move which we absolutely should not play is the natural this here 6-point monastery spot, because it is tempting to have meeples in hand, because you think, oh, I finish my monastery and I get myself another monastery. It's a standard tactic, and it is, but then you would be also giving a meeple back to your opponent, which Helge would be able to put into good use, and this is a fantastic move from Stefafnakis. I think he finds his best winning chance. Helge, now with a bit of a dilemma. There are several moves to be considered. Option 1, we go here and we'll limit this monastery a little bit, making it just harder to be completed. On the other hand, we don't need to be too worried about this monastery being completed, because most of the monastery completion patterns were like curve plus monastery, and once you draw the monastery as Helge, then the monastery completion is not such a big of a concern. Great move from Stefafnakis trying to complete the monastery anyways. Helge can now go here and block. This is the last straight line. He has nothing to worry about. This was also a lovely move by Helge, eliminating the best field connection platform for the future, trying to see ahead, imagining a scenario how Stefafnakis gets a meeple back and then gets to attack this field. Now it is much, much, much harder to implement. Not impossible, just much harder. Helge, I think, doesn't quite see that idea. Since, well, it wasn't possible to finish the monastery anyway, because it would be the wrong kind of dagger. Yeah, so this is actually a smart move from Helge. Although, instead of going here, I would have considered doing this, trying to block in an invasion square potentially, because the field for 15 points can still be invaded, and this is exactly what Stefafnakis will be trying to do. And Helge prevents exactly that. This might have as well be the winning move for him. But Stefafnakis actually can still go here, as crazy as it sounds, and invade the farm like this through a dagger tile. I'm just trying to figure it. And this might be unblockable. I think he still has a 1 in 6 winning chance, if I'm not mistaken, because there's still one more of these tiles in the deck, right? There's still one more rose, and with rose, you cannot block. So the remaining tiles, if I remember correctly, are a rose, a cow like this, and of course a dagger like this, right? So I can see only 2 of those. And this means if we go here, and if our opponent gets a rose, which they cannot block, and we get this here dagger, then we successfully invade into the field. So this is a 1 in 6 winning chance, which may or may not be our best option. Maybe the Greek player can score his way to victory, but I think it is not enough because this field is just a little bit too big. Scoring would be simply taking 2 points over here, and then with the last city tile, just grabbing the 6-point city. So you can have yourself either a guaranteed 8-point sequence by going over here and then over here, or you can have yourself something better, a 15-point sequence. And I think he might just have to go for it. He's thinking about it. He has a minute to calculate this through. It should be possible to figure that out. So Helge is 8 ahead, but this is 8, so we're equal. This road is 11 and the field is 12, so we're +1, -1 because of this, +2 because of this. This is equal. Yeah, and currently we are down 13 points, so we kind of have to go for the farm. The problem with that is that I believe we're losing anyway. You see, we go here and we connect to the farm, all is well. But if we connect to the farm, at some point our opponent will draw the last cow tile and go over here and unify the city. But our opponent gets the last cow tile and will block our connection. But still, a lot of credit goes to Stefafnakis' way, finding the only move which gave him a chance, the only move, the only possible field attack. And even more credit goes to Helge for blocking a field invasion platform over here, and then over here as well. Stefafnakis doesn't get the field connection tile anyway, so we know that he could have scored 8 points or whatever. This would not have been enough, so nothing to be worried about. Still, correct decision by the Greek expert, just did not get the 1 in 6 tile run out. But also, I wanted to give props for Helge for finding this here move over here. Well, why is this so important? Because if you don't block this invasion platform, then Stefafnakis can go over here and drop a farmer like this. In which case, this farmer becomes unblockable, completely unblockable, because you can't put anything in this square for blocking. And so this here entrance like this, through the outside of the curvy part of a dagger, well, let me try and kind of draw that curve over here. then that would have been a 1 in 3 chance of fields connection instead of 1 in 2 chance, instead of 1 in 6 chance in fields connection. So that's a big difference in probability. It's like 16 percentage points. It's absolutely big in Carcassonne if you can make a move which gives you 16 more win percentage points comparison to another move. In this particular instance, we know that Stefafnakis would have come a little bit short either way, and this is because you might think that if his invasion were successful, then he would get 15 points for the farm extra, which is true, putting a bit at 102, but Helge would then get the tile to fit over here to connect to his opponent's bigger part of the ruin, and Helge would get extra 3 points and win the game with a minimum advantage, 103 to 102. I wish that happened, then the game would be a little bit more spectacular, but yeah. The first one appears to have been quite the treat, with Helge with the early advantage. Stefafnakis, some good comeback attempts, just didn't quite make it happen. And now we are ready for the second one. Let me just adjust the scoreboard a little bit, actually. I will be back with you in a second. I always keep forgetting that it's like slides down a little bit once the match starts. And there we go. So, Helge can clinch a spot in the main stage of the Carcassonne Champions League right now in the next 15 minutes or so. Although the first game was quite long, it was half an hour. So both players really thinking, both players really trying to win. Helge now rated over 720, wants to increase that even further. But Stefafnakis was the starting player, which will give him better chances. Stefafnakis! I think with the first imprecision on the game, he's gonna pay for it quite dearly. Not finishing his city over here, not dropping a farmer over here, not taking control of this here square. Yeah, whenever you have a battle with your opponents, like when you are... I can't. I don't know what either side is doing. I felt like everybody was playing so well. Now both players are actively trying to lose. First of all, Stefafnakis not finishing his city. Then Helge not finishing his city. I was gonna say that like whenever you have a situation like this, whenever you have a situation with two meeples sharing shoulders, or how would you describe it, like parallel like this, then the side, whoever finishes their city first, gets quite a lot of advantage in that position. So Helge now, for example, okay, what am I not seeing? Do I need to refresh the page? Did I get the color of the I can't. What am I not seeing here? I'm pretty sure that Borga Marina got something wrong. Yes, of course. Nobody's crazy. Nobody's crazy. It is Borga Marina that is crazy. But did you see that, right? We thought, well, at least I thought, that the city could be finished. Of course, for some reason, Borga Marina was not showing this here tile with the red meeple on it, which of course would have made all the suggested moves illegal. So good to know that it is not the players who are losing their minds, it is the Borga Marina developers. So now everything starts making a lot of sense. Stefafnakis now almost successfully taking over the city. Helge will now need to try and prevent that city from being taken over, but he cannot do it with this tile. Helge has, what, a lovely farm at the top for 12 points, and not so lovely city, which was trying to attack this here construction unsuccessfully. Overall, a very good opening position for the Greek player. So it looks like we have ourselves a balanced match where Helge won the first one. As it stands, Stefafnakis is considerably more likely to win the second one. And maybe we get ourselves a decider. But maybe Helge turns this around and makes a swindle. So this is quite interesting. Yeah, he's going to go for overfarming, which honestly could look quite good with this here geometry. The farms are probably going to be connected. If he gets a lot of things over here, he's going to have a 21-point field very soon with 7 completed cities. Stefafnakis is going to get quite a lot on the scoreboard once he completes this. But Helge could get a Dorito tile and go over here and connect this here little meeple with the 2 red meeples and 1 green meeple in this here area, whilst this here square might end up getting blocked as a result, leading to a lost mini battle, 1 point against what? 7-8 points that are in this area. -7 mini battle is really not as big of a deal as your opponent completing a city for 14 points and then getting a meeple back straight away. So Stefafnakis now goes for the field fight, figures that he does not want any imbalances since there's no guarantee that the city is going to be finished. Helge probably now is not in a position to do anything special. Well, there are 2 moves that I'm thinking about. This is number 1. This is what I would have preferred, just going over here trying to block this here square. This is the move that I quite like. And from the Greek perspective, yeah, there's nothing much that we could have done. He instead takes a city, which I do quite like. I think he should have taken the other city instead. Actually, I'm quite sure about that. But the advantage of this here move is also quite interesting. So he's now connecting the farmers and he's threatening the completion of this here city and dropping another farmer. And that is why Helge first of all takes care of this threat instead of starting to block this square. So this meeple is a decoy, whilst Helge is trying to play around this here area. This gives more time and more chances for Stefafnakis to finish the city that actually matters. So that is why you want to build more threats in different parts of the board. Stefafnakis now needs to find the guts to place the monastery where it belongs. The highest scoring move and the highest equity move is to go here for 6 points, setting up a coin flip for a 9-point monastery, where you have slightly more expected value than your opponent, because whoever takes these 9 points will be helping this here monastery guy. This is a move that he might find not so easy to pull the trigger on, but he goes for it and takes the monastery. Please don't drop a farmer, but take the monastery. It is too early to overcommit on the farm, but he's thinking about it. It's not a good sign. It's not a good sign, but thankfully a monastery meeple has been placed. Helge now is trying to block the city. Stefafnakis cannot do nothing much about it. He was going to finish it, now he can't. He still can, in theory, just not right now. There are still 3 tiles that fit over here. Of course, Helge will be trying to place something in this area to make this uncompletable, but we should anticipate it. The best move that Stefafnakis has for him is not taking these here 4 points, although this is actually not that bad, is not going over here or here and developing his monastery, and definitely not invading this here city. In fact, this would be the worst move that he could play. The one with lowest winning chances. The best move that I see is to actually go here, start building a city on the left, restricting the square with the idea that if Helge goes over here and blocks this square somehow, then he would also be blocking his own city, and the Greek expert finds it. It is not a trivial find. Now Helge, he will be able, of course, to go here and block the square. It's quite an easy find, but this city cap will go a long way towards restricting the square, towards making sure that this meeple is just as trapped as these here 3 guys, making sure that the meeple situation in this game is balanced. But now Helge absolutely needs to find this block. For a player of his caliber, it is quite a pedestrian find anyway, and he even chooses to drop a farmer. But look at this. Stefafnakis was preparing to finish that city straight away. Of course, now he's not able to do it, but he finishes the city at the top. He's 11 points ahead, and a meeple up. This square is sensitive, but as Helge manages to find a Dorito or a triple city that fits here, then Helge will have a long-term meeple advantage, which should give him the upper hand in the field fight. Straight line for the Swedish master. He uses the straight line to create a mild threat against the monastery of Stefafnakis. Maybe looking to go here and here. In the meantime, Stefafnakis takes 4 more points and tries to block that square. Now, Helge, of course, will defend. This defense, however, is not definitive, whilst there are still 2 Dorito tiles that fit into this square. Now, this square becomes mildly vulnerable. It is possible now to attack this here square a little bit further. So, in fact, this meeple will stay here for a long time statistically, sometimes forever. Steffi here has 2 options. Both of them are connected with taking out city caps. This move makes a lot of sense. It does not allow easy quick points for Helge, and it also creates a chance of actually blocking this square and leaving the upper farmer stranded. Yeah, because now we see that actually Helge has overfarmed, right? So it's 3 versus 1. But because of the lead of Stefafnakis on the scoreboard, I think we can totally win this if we are the Greek player, right? I think it's still possible to overcome. So Helge starting a new city on the left. But it's a move which is quite difficult to pull his trigger on because there's still 6 big tiles available that can break that city, right? A tile like this. Stefafnakis does not get one, but it gets something arguably worse from the perspective of the Swedish fans. These are the perfectest 3 points that you can imagine. So 3 points over here, setting up a 5-point road here, which has now been taken care of, and also setting up a 5-point road which goes through the monastery of Stefafnakis, who now, by the way, has a city tile. A couple of useful options for that city tile. This is one of the options, trying to harm that city a little bit, unsuccessfully this time, as Helge gets some much needed love on the scoreboard. And red now gets a straight line. Quite an obvious move with that, though. It's a tile that can be used for blocking. He will take advantage of the time control. He will spend more time per move than it is possible when we're playing with a 15-minute clock, as his time bank will be replenished. Oh, this is the first... Is that the first mistake of the game? I do not see a good justification as to why we don't use that tile for blocking. I really don't. Like, this square is still very much fillable. Is he waiting for some sort of better blocking tile? Like, is he planning to go now here? That would also make a lot of sense. But I think, honestly, the Greek player is just forgetting that the city can be completed. I really don't get why he wouldn't go over here. Because there's so many city caps. There are 2 starting tiles. There are 2 roses that fit here. And, of course, if we go here, then we have ourselves these daggers still available. But we would be still eliminating 4 tiles from our opponent's arsenal. Also, like, the problems of Stefafnakis are not over. Because this city is of strategic significance. If the city gets completed like this and like this, then green also drops a farmer for 9 points for some further damage. And Helge is preparing that exact option. He's actually trying to make it harder for his opponents to drop these preemptive farmers. And he's also, of course, protecting this here square a little bit in case he ever needs for this here green Swedish guy to enter from the top. Yeah, there we go. We're having a nice horizontal map for ourselves, so we have some more options. As to how we can arrange that on the screen. Stefafnakis is, I think, spending a lot of effort trying to block a shared road, which should not be the top of his priorities. But, I mean, if you're going to start it, you might as well continue it. Yeah, kind of a lot of tiles maybe a bit wasted by Stefafnakis, maybe like a bit played in an unfocused way. I can see where he's coming from, though. How about we try and be a bit more extravagant? If we're going the scoring route, we might as well go here for 6 points and start a new city. Yeah, he goes for the blocking, but then Helge can quite easily get a dagger and go here. Don't drop a farmer. Don't drop a farmer. I mean, he might be thinking about dropping a farmer, but it's too early. You don't have the resources to fight for the field, and he correctly identifies that. Helge now has a chance to protect his city and punish the Greek expert for failing to block that square earlier. But this is not the move. This is not the move. This is not how you play. This is not how you do it. I think the missed move that Helge has was, of course, to go over here with a curve and try and set up one of the 4 remaining straight line tiles like this. So either one of the 2 remaining starting tiles or the 2 remaining rows is basically one of these here 2 guys. This move is also kind of okay, but it is more blockable, and it just so happens that Stefafnakis does not get a good blocking tile. Now it's a good farming insurance. It's only the sequencing ends up mattering, and what do we see as a result? Helge draws exactly the kind of tile that could have been prevented earlier by the block of Stefafnakis, so this mistake will cost the Greek expert dearly, but he now gets his lead back again on the scoreboard by winning the coin flip for a curve. A road monastery is waiting to happen. He's behind on the farms, but there is technically still a prospect as to how he could fight for them. Helge, with an interesting tile of his own, could drop a farmer somewhere, and he goes for a city instead. This is quite interesting. A 75% chance for a city setup. I think Stefafnakis could now try and create more gambling opportunities. So option 1, we connect to the farm straight away. We try to create a big field fight. We hope that Helge does not get this meeple back too soon. Option 2, we set up more coin flips and we go over here and we just try to simply win a coin flip for a 5-point road. Then we can start looking about some options about finishing this here city. Statistically, we're even money to get a meeple back before our opponents, but maybe not. As Helge, I was going to say, if Helge goes here for 9 points, he's going to give us a meeple back. But does even Helge go here for 9 points? Maybe he goes here for 4 points instead. No, he does not want to play a high variance game. He figures he has to take out that scoring opportunity. Helge still preserves more or less equality on this scoreboard, but Stefafnakis gets himself a much extra meeple, which he can use for farming at the top right now if he so chooses. There's a rather obvious traditional field platform. This would still make the Swedish master the favorite to win this game, simply because of this here nasty setup. But Stefafnakis chooses a different farmer. He goes for a 75% chance to get not only the fields connection, but also the extra points that come here. And he is not interested in this little farm at the top. He wants to try and draw some nasty tiles to even block or restrict the square further. Some lovely high variance action going on here. So 2 key squares, 2 key tiles. Helge, with the road monastery, is looking to score 4 points over here. This is the move that he's going to make eventually. And now it's also starting to give me some thoughts. Something that I haven't seen in a while. And look at this. Stefafnakis straight away with a 5 points and the fields connection and the lead on the scoreboard. Instant meeple back. Helge is still yet to connect. He's probably now going to connect his farmer from the top, and now he really needs the dagger to finish his city and give himself a meeple back. He's probably going to connect right now, but let's see. If that is what he does, and this is what he does. Stefafnakis with some more farming options, scoring options, sorry. But this is rather interesting, because the only way to score points is here, which would create more farming opportunities. It would create an additional option for somebody to drop a farmer over here, and that somebody is still the Swedish master, because there are still tiles that fit into that square. Stefafnakis still needs to draw something here to connect this here 9-point farmer to the big 18-point farm here. Of course, still a rather likely occurrence. Yeah, a lot in this game will depend on timing. I can certainly see if Helge draws this tile too close towards the end of the game, it will actually allow for Stefafnakis to have 100% wins in some lines, because he could go here and drop an insurance farmer, red, right? So if Helge goes here, then this would bring red into the field. But then if red does that, then suddenly Helge might not need to win the field in order to win the game. He might not even need to finish the city. Then Helge might just take this long road for 7 points and overcome the scoreboard deficit by a little bit. Of course, it needs to be pointed out that this here temporarily trapped meeple is worth 4 points, whereas this here city majority for Stefafnakis is 8 points. So as it stands, Stefafnakis is 8 points ahead, and Helge goes for the farm straight away. Stefafnakis now needs to make some difficult decisions. He connects to the farm first, and Helge gets the dagger instantly. He's now a big favorite to win this. He's a big favorite for a clean sweep. He's ahead on the scoreboard, and he has not an extra meeple, but one of his meeples is involved here in a threatening way. Stefafnakis now can go here and try to invade the farm again, which is what he absolutely should do. Now it looks like the battle between the Greek and the Swede is turning into a full-on Brazilian field fight. Every move is either a farmer or the completion of the field's connection. We see a farm here straight away. This is the best farming option. Helge now has a variety of option himself. So option 1, we could go here and we could restrict this farm toward the only one remaining city cap. Option 2, we could go the full hog here and drop yet another farmer like this, giving us 2 routes. Option 1, we connect through these here areas. Option 2, we connect through these here areas with a curve. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, there is no curve remaining, which is a bit problematic for us if we're Swedish. But there is actually no dagger remaining either. Oh, look at this. This is such a neat move from Helge. I'm not sure how I feel about it, though. It is basically an insurance move, so that if Stefafnakis gets the tile to connect over here, he will be forced to give Helge a meeple back. But I think Helge's being a bit too creative here. I think the extra 4 points are not going to do that much. He just needs to have himself some other options. Yeah. Helge now has some big problems in this here square, because Stefafnakis is not going to finish it for him. He's either going to go here with another monastery or even the same vanilla city cap, or he's simply going to go over here, and this is what he overlooks. Stefafnakis had the field connection right now. He can just simply go over here and connect here straight away. And he will still be able to maybe even connect afterwards. Or maybe we don't do that. Maybe we do something else. Maybe we try and... actually, wait a second. Maybe we don't need to connect right now, because we can connect later. Helge with a monastery. Stefafnakis will be looking to drop a farmer somewhere. I was thinking of that maybe we could have gone like here or here, trying to drop a farmer, or maybe meepling this long road and then trying to kind of invade here a little bit later. But this move is also okay, because it actually gives us some winning chances. If we get a vanilla city cap, then we score 8 points unapologetically. And we don't even need to bother with invading the field. Because on the scoreboard we're -9, but actually we're only -2. The Greek expert is only -2 overall because of this here 1 point for Helge and 8 points for Stefafnakis in this here area. Helge goes for a 6-point monastery, but it is not enough. Stefafnakis has a 50-50 chance to win, I believe. I think he wins if he gets the vanilla city cap. Wait, Helge had 7 points, right? So Stefafnakis can just simply take 3 points. And then doesn't he win with the vanilla city cap or something else? No, Helge had not 7. Helge had 8. Helge had 8. As a result of this here monastery. Stefafnakis scores 3. He does not score 4 because he wants to leave this here square open for a city cap. And Helge gets not the city cap, but he gets a blocking tile. And of course, he's going to block over here. And Stefafnakis is going to lose by 1 point. By a tie. The best that he has is a 5-point move in this area. Oh, it has to hurt, right? I might be miscounting a little bit. No, I'm not miscounting. He's going to lose by a tie, which means that maybe he should have thought about this a little bit longer. I think if he were... Yeah, he's going to take these 5 points. If he were to just have gotten himself these 4 points, he would have been just fine, but he got greedy. He wanted to get the 8 points for the city, but he didn't realize that he had a winning chance. Even if he does not score these points. So unfortunately we see a botched endgame here from the Greek expert. And the idea, of course, is laudable. He figured that he needed the city cap. He figured that he needed to go for the coin flip in order to win. But he didn't realize that Helge could easily block his city setup. Wait, where did the game go? Come on, Board Game Arena, please. Just once. Make things work. Alright, we're still here. Helge saying, blundered, not seeing your starting connection. Yeah, this was idea. This, of course, a wonderful, wonderful idea. And Helge thought that this was a block, but in fact it wasn't a complete block because there was this here tile. Anyway, yeah. So, actually, I believe that the Greek might have had a 100% win for himself, because if he just makes the simpler move and takes 4 points, now we know that with the outcome in the game, with the outrun in the game, he would have simply gotten himself 1 point extra and 195.94. But what if the tiles were reversed? What if he goes here and takes 4 points? Then if Helge gets the city cap, Helge gets 3 points extra for completing this here city. But then Stefafnakis gets this 7-point road, in which actually he loses by a tie. Yeah, so he would have lost. So this means that he had a 50% winning chance. But after this here move, it was a 0% winning chance, precisely because of this blocking opportunity. Also, credits to the Swedish master for finding his only winning move. Also very nice instructive endgame tactic. When you cannot score your own points, make sure to block point scoring opportunities for your opponent. The only move that won Helge the game and the match. Dramatic finish here, and we can see why the expert is the expert and the master is the master, as in the end game Stefafnakis was a little bit outclassed. despite being quite persistent and quite precise for most of the other game. Really some nice strategic decisions, figuring to go for a balanced farming approach. Helge with some sneaky cities over here. This one, by the way, could have been blocked, so something to think about for the Greek expert in the future. This and this, of course, put him mildly ahead. Yeah, exciting match. Unfortunately, we don't get to see a decider, but we might see Stefafnakis yet again, as he will be playing in the consolation finals. So a reminder to y'all about this tournament structure is that the Second International Qualifier is divided into 4 groups, F, G, H, and I, and 2 players from each group qualify to the main stage of the Carcassonne Champions League. So Helge has now qualified right now, and Stefafnakis now goes here to the consolation final, where he will need to defeat one of these here 4 players. I'm not sure who that's going to be. Maybe Nari is a good candidate for that. She seemed to be actually quite convincing in some of her previous duels. Anyway, so we will have to just wait and see. That's very close to the end of the year. And the final thing for today is, let's just check out the chat. Chat. Yes, exactly, Miley. It was better to just go for the 4 points. Wait, Kaika is saying about the ruin on the right for 8 points. I must not have seen this. Okay, we have to have a look at this. The ruin on the right. Ah! This guy! It's 8 points. Oh, how interesting. Oh, you're totally right. Which means that Stefafnakis did have 100% winning chance. Yikes, sheesh and yikes. And also, but check this out. It's even more painful. Because you know what Stefafnakis' move did? Knowing that he had this 8-point opportunity. This means that Stefafnakis, by scoring these here 4 points, would have given himself 100% chance to win. And this move is 0% chance to win. So this 1 point is the difference between 100% and 0%. Because in that scenario, if Helge takes this city cap, takes the 3 extra points for getting the city, then we get ourselves this here 8-point ruin. It's still net +5, right, for the last turn exchange. Same as happened over here. And Stefafnakis would have still lost 97 to 97 or something like that. So this actually was just being overly fancy, tunneling too much on wanting to complete this 8-point city and not really calculating through that the simple move is just better. Yeah, this has to hurt even harder then. Thank you for pointing that out, Kaika. Alrighty, so what else to say? So we've exhausted the endgame analysis. We now know what's happening in the tournament structure. There are some matches happening tonight. I will be unlikely to stream any of them. I just won't be back in time. I see there's nothing really scheduled for on Otto's or on Ice Maze's channel. You can have a look. Maybe there's somebody else. I know that in the Western Hemisphere they sometimes do Spanish-speaking streams, so you might even see Vainiri's game. Just go to Carcassonne GG and see if there is something. I'm unlikely to be able to make it back for any of those, but tomorrow it is my intention to wake up for this here important match. I will do my best between Meeple over People of the Netherlands and the first ever Korean player to be featured in the channel in the Carcassonne Champions League with the screen named Cherry Papa, so I'll try to cover those. The other ones, well, about these matches we can talk later. Of course, I'm going to cover Nalheim versus Phosphate, the final of Qualification 4. So the best way to keep up with all this information is to subscribe to this channel and click the bell notification icon unless you already have done so. Yes, exactly, Miley. Actually, it's a very good puzzle potential. So if somebody can maybe just screenshot this position and send this to topcarcassonner.com, that will be very much appreciate it if some of y'all could do that. I'm gonna need to run off right now. Of course, need to remind y'all to meeple the like button, as it is important for the algorithm. And if you feel like you can afford to support these here streams long term, then you can consider a channel membership for as little as $2 a month. So these three things. Tomorrow we will meet each other in a stream. Maybe there's going to be something else tonight going on. Just go to Carcassonne GG to find out. Then that is going to be it. Thank y'all so much for watching, and I'ma see you soon.